secrets related to salary negotiation. Great to have you if you're here with me live. Get in the chat, say hi, let me know who you are, where you're from, what you do, what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions so I can find them when we go to the Q&A. If you're in my job search coaching program, use your boot camper hashtag, or if you're a leader, let me know, or if you're in any of my other programs, I always love to give you a shout out. Great to have you all and everybody else. Got a fun one today on what to do along the way in the entire interviewing process so you get paid more money. Now, some of these are like seeds you plant in the beginning. I'm going to teach you how to water them along the way, and then once they're in full bloom at the end of that offer comes, I'm going to teach you how to make them grow really fast. So I hope you're in for this and as excited as I am about it. And just like you, I'm going to be hearing this for the first time because I haven't run through this at all. It's been a busy week with the 4 dogs and Mrs. LaCivita at school. So I've been flying solo again. It takes a lot to handle those little guys. Okay, let me see. I always like to say hello. I saw Rachel, who I love, one of my boot campers, and Adam Stark, who's always with me from the other side of the pond. Did you see who also showed up? My mom. Great to see you, Mom. Love you. And Donna and Cherry, my baby girl, and whoever enter your name here is ready to learn. Great to have you. Danielle Phillips, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Word Dog Toronto, great to see you back after the mini camp. Mike Tierney, great to have you too. Okay. I got a lot of points, so I want to get right into it. And like I said, I have no idea how long this is going to take me. But, so what is this all about? We are going to talk about some things that I think are not intuitively obvious. They're not very well known. Or if they are things you've heard before, whether from me or anybody else for that matter, I want to make sure you understand why we're doing what we're doing, how to do it, what to do, what not to do. And the first thing that I always like, I always like everybody to do, and you can call this step 0, but not a lot of people do this, or not a lot of people truly go through the exercise and reflect on this when they're supposed to. So, Kara, hopefully we're in the right Slack channel here. Make sure we're in yours and not the live session one. All right, before you start, I want you to take stock of what you have, and I'm talking in this case about the financial stuff. Right, so you often hear me say, when you go to work for an employer or a company, there's a value package. And when I use that term, I'm talking about the entire value it has to you, what I get to do, who I get to do it with, what I'm learning, the career opportunities, maybe I get to travel internationally, anything that's important to you, that's part of the value package. But I want you to be very clear too on financially what you get from your current employer. And all too often, most people don't actually dig into this until the 11th hour, and they start to think about, well, I'm going to get an offer, and I got this offer. Now I have to actually look back. How much salary do I actually get? When is my bonus paid? What does the 401k match actually turn out to be? How much vacation do I get? What about those training stipends I get and all those other reimbursements? And most people don't truly understand what they have. And I want you to collect it primarily because, number one, I want you to know what you have. Number two, I want you to also be aware that no 2 job offers, whether it's your current employer and the salary and the compensation you get, or an offer from another prospective employer or another prospective employer, they will never be equal. They will never have all the same components or address those components to the same degree. So one of the things I want you to do, and I'm going to gift this to you right now. I want to show you this. I have this free giveaway. Kara, can you add this to the chat, where it's a free download that I give, and I break down the different components that I would make sure I evaluate just to take stock, salary, bonus, company stock, and so on. And I give you the definition of what most of these are. I give you a little grid here to make sure that you have some visibility to it, and you really have an understanding of what it is that you earn. Because, when we did a lot of recruiting, and people would say to me, well, I got a $100,000 salary and I get a 20% bonus. Well, you don't make $120,000, right? And oh, you mean you only got 5% last year, right? Except when all of a sudden, when they go to evaluate a new opportunity, they automatically in their head think they earn $120,000. That's not the case, right? When's your next raise coming? What might that be? Could we speculate? Any information that you have is going to help you make a more informed decision. So number one, I want you to do that. This is kind of obvious, but I don't think the practice of doing it is very effective. And that is not my opinion. That's me evaluating thousands of job candidates and going through this process with them and seeing what they're doing or not doing, so we'd help them with that as recruiters. All right, the next thing that I want you to do, and this one's a little trickier. I see almost nobody do this. And when I say almost nobody, I really mean like nobody. So first thing is you want to write out your goals for your position, and you can use your position in general, or you can use the job description. I'll be really clear what I mean here and what I'm talking about. So if you are a marketer, I don't care if you're the event planner, I don't care if you're the social media content manager, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're the chief marketing officer. The marketing positions themselves generally have different goals that any employer would want them to accomplish. You want to increase brand awareness, right? I want to elevate my ability to be recognized in the world. Maybe that's more social media followers. Maybe that's more people hitting my website. Whatever it is. However, whatever. But that is going to be a metric by which all marketers are evaluated. Then you can look at, okay, if I'm going to bring myself to market, and I'm the social media content manager, am I actually putting things together, putting engines together, running the social media platform or whatever it is that is actually increasing brand awareness? That would be a goal of the position, whether directly and immediately or whether what I'm doing is a prerequisite step to accomplishing the goal. Every single one of you, regardless of what you do, irrespective of your position, you have these goals. And oftentimes the job description that you're applying to, or if you don't have a job description, you could look at other job descriptions or other position write-ups or anything that's remotely close to what it is you do to give yourself an idea of what those goals and objectives are. And why would you want to know these? Well, let's say I'm Joe Job Seeker and I'm just starting the process and I haven't even sent out an email, an application, or anything. If you think through what the goals and objectives of your position would be, you're likely well ahead of anybody else in knowing what an employer likely needs. And what an employer likely needs, it's going to be music to their ears when they hear it from you or when they see it on your resume. And on your resume, if you highlight, maybe in the career highlights section, for those of you that go to the Andy School of Resume Writing, if you highlight what those are already in advance and your resume, your base resume is ready with this, you're going to have a lot more hits because they're going to see that you are actually solving the problems they have. Plus, the interview stories that you prepare will be the ones that they want to hear because you're going to tell them how you solve those problems or how you will attain those metrics. And the other thing that it will do is it will tee you up for something that I want you to be building along the way in the interview process, which is a matrix of what the goals and objectives are for the position, how you are going to take the steps to solve those or achieve those, and what it's ultimately going to mean in terms of benefits and value for the employer. So imagine, before you even decide you're going to target a company or a position, you could actually know what these are because you have experience doing your job, I hope, right? Or even if you're trying to change careers, still look at this. This could be part of your research exercise. And I want to save one of the big points for why I want you to do this till we get down to the end and the counteroffer. But this is a step. Show of hands, how many would ever think to do this? And all of you boot campers are disqualified from my question here, because if y'all are not in my boot camp, we spent last Wednesday showing them exactly why to do this, how to do this, and I took them through the steps. If that's something you're interested in seeing, you could become part of the program. Membership is open on sale right now. I'll tell you about that later for this. And so I took them through how to identify it for their position. I gave them a write-up of all the steps, a document of all the steps, how to think through what it is, where it goes on the resume, how to articulate it, how to prep your stories. I gave them a couple of examples of how to do this, and we did some hot seats. So we actually did this for people live in that coaching session. So how many of you do this, like really get down to the nitty gritty? So some of you do. Okay, well, wait, I'm happy to hear that, because rarely is this something that people think about. They look at job descriptions and they say, okay, what do I got to do? But I want you to really take some time to do this. The next thing I want you to do, keep a diary. Why would I want you to keep a diary? I want you to capture the key components along the way that you are going to use to sell yourself throughout the process, but ultimately that you're going to use at the end when you negotiate your compensation. So what do I mean when I say keep a diary? All right, so when I was a recruiter and we were recruiting, and I was taking searches every week from new employers, and I would get in there and I would ask them a bunch of questions, and they would inevitably, of course, offer up information. And I would ask them things like, how long you been looking? 3 months. The salesperson you want me to find, who's been helping you find that person. My 2 corporate recruiters spend a couple hours a day. We've got another search firm or 2 that have been working, but they're failing. What's an average salesperson sell? Oh, $1.2 million, $100,000 a month in your services, right? On this goes to try to understand the pain points and what's happening as a result of not having this person, or, right, you've looked at job candidates. Why didn't you hire somebody? What skill sets are they missing? All this stuff goes in a diary, because when I'd get down to the end and I'd say, okay, well, let's see. You just spent 3 months, meaning there was, even if this was an average seller, $300,000 in revenue that you didn't get. Not let's rack up whatever the corporate recruiter's cost was on their salaries for them looking a couple hours a day, right? For both of them, that's 4 a day, that's 20 a week. Do the math. Oh, those other search firms that you had to spend time with. How much time did you waste with them looking at candidates, explaining to them who you needed? Rack it all up. If I was able to find the person in 2 days, would that be worth $100,000 to you? Right? They'd say, well, Andy, hey, the other firms the other firms what? The other firms that you're unhappy with, that if they were worth their salt, I wouldn't be sitting here? You mean those other firms and what they were going to charge you for this? You just told me, I don't know, rack up this bill. We got to be up to $400,000 right now that you didn't get. And is that not reasonable? Well, how's $50,000 sound? Right, kind of thing. And if you're not able to hit it, so what might your diary look like? The position's been open how long? They're struggling to find somebody. You mean somebody left? Oh, you really love that person? Well, if because hopefully we like to think you're going to trade up whoever you're going to hire. What would be some skills that this new person could do that other person, even though you loved him, didn't have? What if you could upgrade the entire team? What skills would you be looking for? What would be an over and above stretch goal you'd love to hit that the team hasn't really been able to hit in the last couple of years? You never seem to get there. All these things that you ask along the way, you jot it down, because when you get down to the end, you're going to pull out this list. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a bit. But make sure you're keeping a diary. And I'm talking about some place in your notes that you actually can go to say, here are the list of all the things that are either the employer is in pain about, the employer has an aspiration, even though they would think that's total gravy, or, right, other skill sets you have that no one else has, ways you could solve the problem to the degree that no one else can, right? All of a sudden, right, I'm willing to pay more for that. But you got to make sure that you capture it, because if you can't make a cohesive argument against all this stuff, if this is lying around in your notes somewhere and it's buried everywhere, you're never going to be able to make a really good, sound, lucid argument. So I want to make sure that you do that. All right, now, when you start the process, so you're getting into it and you're at the screen, and so you got the interview. All right, so you put something on your application about your silly expected salary, but you get in. I want you to refrain. Now, I'm putting this in here for completeness, but I do want to touch on it for a moment. Any of you that have followed me for more than 5 minutes know that I want you to, at all costs, not provide an expected salary, you'll either, in most cases, go too low, right? You might not think. Or in some cases, you might go too high, which is going to bother employers, but it only will bother them at the beginning. It won't bother them as much at the end after you've had a chance to what? Raise your stock. Most of you, what you do is you say, well, Andy, I don't want to waste my time, so I want to know if they can meet my number. When what you've seen in terms of the opportunities for you to waste your time is so narrow compared to what I've seen and what employers will do when they find the right person that can elevate their company, their team, or whatever it might be. You will be amazed at how far organizations will stretch beyond what you think. Now, here's another part I want to comment here. I have some videos on YouTube where I go into more detail on this. Very recently, I put a video out on how to get a higher salary by not providing your expected salary. There's a video out there on that, and I've also given you a couple of videos on the channel on the best answer to what your expected salary. I would check those out, but I want to comment here because some of you say, well, the employer asked me what my current salary is. If somebody put a gun to my head and said, Andy, you can either give me exactly what you earn down to the dime right now or your expected salary, I wouldn't even need to think. I would give them my actual salary because the actual salary has absolutely no bearing on the negotiation that I'm going to go through at the end based on what I'm worth to do their job. For their job, for what they're willing to pay me at this moment in time. Has nothing to do with what I currently earn. And I even have videos on the channel about when you should disclose your salary. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, Andy, companies can't ask me that in my state. Companies can't ask me that in my city. It's a law. That's all fine, and a lot of countries would never dream of asking you that. And it doesn't matter to me. My point to you is I don't want you to give them anything if possible, but if you want to give them a frame of reference, I'd rather you give them your actual salary than your expected salary because one is irrelevant and the other can only do harm. Okay, so I want you to think about this. Check those videos out. Then, now we'll get into some of the fun ones. All right, also when you're starting, this is at the screen and throughout the process, I want you to tell them every single company that you're interviewing with. And not only that, I want you to tell them every single position you're interviewing for, exactly what it's called, who it's with, and where you are in the process. And if you can, I would also love for you to tell them how lovely your current employer is. All right? How many of you right now, show of hands, thinks coach is crazy? Like, why would I want to do this? There's so many reasons, and I'm going to give you a couple. Okay? Now, I know some of you might think, well, if I tell them how great my current company is, they'll think that I'm not really a plausible candidate, that I won't really leave. All you need to say is, things are pretty well where I am. There's opportunities for improvement, and I'm open to, right? The possibility of. I'm not running out of a burning building. You need to do this. I want to know how many of you think I'm nuts right now, but I want to tell you exactly why I want you to do this. First thing is, you're communicating, right? I'm an open book. I'm sharing with you. The quid pro quo applies. I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff. I want you to tell me about your candidates in the pipeline, where you're finding them from, how they're coming along. Will you keep me updated along the way? I'll keep you updated. You keep me updated. The other thing it does is it earns you a reputation as a communicator. And nothing ticks an employer off more than a candidate that's moving through their process, who they love, who comes to them and says, hey, Andy, I'm so sorry, but I just accepted another job with another company. And I look at you and I say, Susie, I didn't even know you were interviewing with anybody else. Why didn't you tell me? Because we would have hurried up and I'd have gotten everybody from the Milewalk Academy lined up to talk to you today, because I don't want to let you go. That will happen far more than you think. And the other thing is, you're planting some seeds, because if you are showing yourself as a communicator and you are advising them or apprising them of what's happening with you along the way, as you get down to the end, who heard me say a week or two ago, everything I do, I plan to win. When I start an interviewing process, I assume I'm going to get a job offer. I want to know when I get the job offer, what I'm going to need to ask them. But I also need to know when I get the job offer, there may be some favors I need to ask them for. Like, I have some other things going. Can we hurry or slow down? Or anything that I might need, like, can I have more time to review the offer? The more informed they are of where you are, the greater the likelihood they're going to give you the grace period you need because they appreciated you were communicating along the way and you didn't surprise them. You follow me? So wait, I'm not even gotten to the good parts about why this is important. Okay, and I'm going to save those till the end. But I want you to know this does you well. And I'm not talking about every single time you have an interview, you got to obnoxiously call up the recruiter and say, hey, I just want to let you know I had a 10-minute phone screen with the recruiter. They're going to move me to the hiring official. No, just let them know, hey, I'm interviewing with these companies. Here's where I am. I've talked to the recruiter. They're moving me to the hiring official. I talked to the hiring official over there. It's for a database architect position. Just give them the goods. Okay, you're going to need this later. And I'm not even finished with this one yet, but I want to save it for the end. All right, then when you start, you always want to make sure you're asking what's been missing on the team and what's been missing in the candidates you've interviewed. And it could be a number of things. So if they say, well, it's a lone wolf position and the person just left. Okay, well, you're missing a whole person. All right, so now what was missing in that perfect person that just left, right? No one's perfect, but the person you loved, what would you have loved to have had? Oh, you've got 5 team members. What skill sets are missing? What are you trying to supplement? What's the level you want everybody to be at, but they're not? All that kind of stuff. The candidates you've been interviewing, why have you not hired anybody? Oh, the position's been open 2 months. How many candidates have you talked to? 12. What's been wrong with them? Have you given any offers to anybody? Right? Like, you want to make sure you're getting this because this is stuff you're going to use to sell yourself throughout the process in the interviews, but also when you go down to the end, right? You're going to be adding this stuff to the diary. And then this one is a gross mistake that I see a lot of people make. But I don't ever want you to accept anything along the way. I want you to make sure, let's make sure we're not in the right channel. All right. I want you to make sure that you are not accepting anything on an unsolicited or a solicited basis. I'm going to be really clear here because I'll give you some examples because a lot of you do this and it really, really hurts you. All right. Does this sound familiar? You get into an interview process. Andy, I want to work remotely, but it says I need to be in the office 5 days a week. Andy, I got 4 weeks vacation and they only want to start me at 2. What happens is you get into these interview processes and you collect some information, they collect some information on you, and you start to go through them. And whether in the opening ceremony or the first discussion with the hiring official or the third discussion with the hiring official or whatever, something comes up that says, hey, Susie, I see you live in rural Pennsylvania. That'd be a rough commute for you to come to. Don't worry about it. You could work from home. And I noticed here on the information you gave the recruiter that you have 4 weeks vacation and we normally start you out with 2. I'm sure we can bump that up. And you're thinking, oh, how nice. And what you're doing is you're accepting little things along the way. And what's really cracks me up about this is you don't realize instead of raising your stock, instead of collecting more stock, you're collecting more IOUs. So I don't ever want to go to the negotiation table and be in debt because you owe me 2 now, right? The remote and the vacation that I'm offering, right? The employer negotiated with themselves. You took it and didn't even know it. And now when you get to the negotiating table, you've handicapped yourself because you took those 2 off the table and you owe them. Right? Literally or figuratively. And so you're collecting IOUs instead of collecting stock. And what really cracks me up about this is most of you are doing this and you're negotiating with yourself for what? Not a bigger salary. You're negotiating with yourself on whether you want to continue the interview process. Right? Hey, if you let me work remotely, then I'll keep going with you. You might not use those words or they may not come out of your mouth, but that's what you're doing. Show of hands. Who does this? Right? How many of you do this? You do this constantly. You might not call it this or think you're doing this, but you're negotiating with yourself about whether you want to continue based on what? The salary, the budget, or whether I can work remotely, or whether they'll call me a director, or whether I'll get that office, right? That's what you do. Brutal, brutal mistake, and you could make this multiple times over in an interviewing process. I want you to push everything to the end because we're going to batch it up at the end, because when you get down to the end, that's what I want you to do. I want you to ask for everything. I'll get to the whole thing in a minute, but the more of these that you have to discuss, the greater the likelihood that you will get more of them, not less of them. You don't owe them anything yet. You haven't asked for remote work. I want you to say, Andy, I'm sure we can work that at the end. We can sort through all that. You know, that's just part of it, right? Vacation's just part of it. 401k match is just part of it. Stock options. Oh, hey, you know what? Normally, Susie, we only give 10,000, incentive stock options for this position, but you're so senior, I'm thinking we might be able to bump that to 15. You don't even have an offer yet. The employer's negotiating with themselves and they just gave you more, right? And they think I gave you more. You didn't ask for anything. And you said what? That sounds great. No, you need to push. If I had push all the way to the end. All the way to the end. Don't say anything. Don't say thank you. Don't say that sounds great. Don't say wonderful. Don't use any word that can be misconstrued as thanks or compliance or I'm taking it. All right? Push everything. Anytime anything comes up, all the way to the end. All right. Next thing. When you get to the offer stage where you're about to get the offer, this is still in the interview process. I want you to refrain from any requests to give them a number or a range. So wait, let's say up front you refrained and you said, my coach told me he's going to come and sit on my head if I open my mouth and tell you anything. So I'm going to push. And I realize you look like, you're purple in the face, but I'm not telling you anything. So you get all the way down to the end. Now they say, okay, you wouldn't tell me anything up front. Susie, I don't want to insult you. Can you give me an idea? I want to put a fair offer together. The words out of my mouth would be, if you don't think you could put a fair offer out without me telling you exactly what it needs to be, I don't want to work here, right? That's what would be going through my head. But you're not going to do that, right? Because you want to work there probably. You say, look, you saw what I do in the interview process, right? You saw, right, what I'm going to help you attain and all that other good stuff. If I'm sure if you'll put something together that's fair, and let's use that as a starting point. No, I really need something. Okay, tell you what. My coach Andy told me to write out all the goals and objectives. Can we at least, before I give you any idea, could we go through my list and see what this value might be to you? And then maybe based on that, we can both come up with something that's probably, a good starting point. That's another alternative. But I want you not to pitch your number. I want you to catch theirs. And this is really important to refrain here, because the person who has more information is going to make, at a minimum, a more informed decision, but likely a better decision, not to mention its negotiating power when you have more information than the other person. Because what they're trying to do by asking you what your expected salary is or what the range might be, is they're asking you, give me more information because I want to put a better offer together. When the fact of the matter is, they probably will undershoot. And I don't want you to give them a number that they then hit that leaves you no negotiating room because you haven't actually seen all the T's and C's and details of what the offer entails. And these offers are complicated even if they're in their simplest form with just a base salary and a number of other things. You don't have a clue. So I've told stories in the past about how clients of ours would be in excruciating pain because they would be looking for a consultant who they could bill out at $50,000 a month that they would probably pay $175,000 a year for. But at that moment, after 6 months of looking for somebody who they couldn't find, that person would be worth $250 to them, easy, right? So if you, Mr. 175 on a good day, was thinking, I'd like a little bump, well, you'd be leaving a lot of money on the table, and this is what I'm talking about. So I got story after story on that if you want me to regale you. But do me the favor. Keep your mouth sewn shut right when they ask you again. All right, now, when you get to the negotiating table, And you are technically not at the negotiating table until you have a written offer. So if you think you're counteroffering and you don't have paper in front of you, you are not counteroffering, you're botching it up. Okay, so you don't get to negotiate until you have a full written offer with all the details in front of you, because part of your negotiation strength is going to come from the questions you ask, not for things or for concessions or for anything, but for information. Okay, so I want you, when you get your offer, to ask questions first, only to get information. I don't want you to make any requests. Why would I want you to do this? Okay, so let's give you an idea of what I mean. You get an offer. The offer's going to say in your 2-page letter and 17-page employment agreement, okay, here you're going to get here's your title and your position. Here's the job description. Here's, we're going to give you a salary at $8,000 a month. We're going to give you a target bonus with some phantom formula that you don't know about and can never be able to figure out at, $10,000 a year, right? So you're up to, $107,000 or whatever. And it's going to go through the stuff. And when you ask questions related to your offer, I want you to be able to say, okay, I get paid. When do I get paid? What are the dates? Am I paid in arrears right away, or am I delayed? Oh, the bonus. Okay, it's a $10,000 bonus. It's a 10% bonus. It's a 25% bonus. How is it paid? When is it paid? What did the team get last year? What did the people like me get last? Oh, they got 0. Why did they get 0? What about the year before? And so on. Oh, the 401k match, the 6%, if I put all that in and you give me the 6%, does it go in the 401k account? Does it go in a profit sharing distribution account? Does it vest over 4 years? Or what happens if I leave in 2 years? Is that kick in and paid right away? Do I have to give back what was granted? You have to go through all this. And what happens when you go through all this is what? At a minimum, you're getting more information, but what's really happening is the more they respond to you, what's going through their head is, God, this doesn't sound as good as I thought it was. Boy, they got some fair points. Yeah, I guess that 6,000 we're going to dump in if anything should happen, and they really don't get it forever. And this is a 25-year-old, and she's not going to see this for 40 years. And all this stuff matter. Oh wait, they're not incentive stock options, right? Oh, they're phantom stock. And what's the value of the phantom stock? And when I got to wait 4 years? But all of that stuff matters to you. Then you can look back and assess that against what you currently took stock of your current situation. But ultimately, I don't want you asking for anything until what? You have all the information to know what you need to ask for. You may alter your initial ideas based on the answers they give you related to this. And at a minimum, even if you just got salary, you still got vacation, benefits, the costs, the associated whatevers. There's a bunch of incidentals, right, that could play into this. And then some of you with the complicated structures, moving costs and other things, all that stuff you need to make sure you are crystal clear. Why are you negotiating a salary when you've got at least as much money tied up in other things? So I want you to go through this. You will be amazed. They will start negotiating with themselves in their own head, okay, before you get to ask them anything, which you didn't even do yet. All right, now, remember this guy? Coach says write out the goals. You're not just going to write out your goals. I need to increase brand awareness. I need to build the marketing team. I need to whatever. I need to build the analytics infrastructure. I need to make sure that the salespeople have this. I need to boom, right? You got to have it all out. What are you going to do? Here's all I'm going to do in the first year. What's all that going to translate to? Here's what it's going to mean. Tangible, intangibles, and so on. You're going to go to the negotiating table after you've asked all those questions. Now, some of you are going to say, Andy, well, do I ask all those questions and then go back and counter? Yes. Oh, Andy, should I ask all those questions and then make a counter? Yes. It depends on how well you've prepared, how much you knew in advance, who you're dealing with. Are you talking to the HR person? Are you talking to the hiring official? This gets very complicated as far as what to do based on the combination of the steps, the people, and what you're being offered and how close it is to what you want, depending on when you want to make your ask. Sometimes it might be, Andy, we're going to call you at 4 o'clock. At 3:55 in your email inbox is going to be your offer, and I want you to open it, and the phone's going to ring, and you hit the button, and the email's going to open, and I'm going to walk you through it. And I'll be seeing it for the first time, and I won't have all my questions. But if I have an offer, Then you come and you get with me, and then I tell you everything to ask them in the session that you actually have with them. But you could make your counter offer there after you ask your questions if you've prepared and you know an if then, if I get this, then I'll ask for that kind of thing. All right, then what I want you to do is I want you to make your counter offer case. I want you to make your counter offer case with your objectives and goals and future value, not market information. Let me be really clear. So, boot campers, who loves the advanced negotiation tactics little sheet? Compliments of Joe, Mr. Joe, our beloved boot camper, and I, during one of our coaching sessions, we built this template. We use it, we give it to the boot campers, and I gave them a whole session on how to do this. But you're basically making your counter offer argument on future value. I don't care that you sold 1,000 widgets over at your other company. Our customers are more a pain in the ass. Our customers are bigger and uglier. Whatever, right? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I showed you how I would do it. I showed you what I do. I showed you what I'm experienced in, why I'm a badass, and now I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do for you. And like I said, oh, you've been losing $300,000 a month. If I get all that back in a day, am I not worth $1 million? Right, kind of thing. So you've got to be able to talk it through, showing them the value you're going to achieve. And if you say to them, well, I just want more money because I feel like I'm better, that's not going to work. But there's going to be a huge difference when you say, okay, look, I'm going to put the marketing team together. Historically, and I showed you, I walked you through the story of how I was able to elevate this from here to here, right? Okay, we're going to do that for you. I already know all the challenges. I already have the structure. I'm already bringing the playbook and so on. I'll have that up in 6 months. And then by a year, you're going to have all that stuff, right? So am I not worth an extra 20 grand or whatever it might be? But you're going to make it according to the future value, because market data and what somebody is earning, who's your friend down the block, who's doing the same job as you are, that market data is going to shift by the time you start, right? The employer, that is a relative number. An employer, it will be easier for the employer to give you more money if you make an absolute argument rather than a relative argument. So-and-so's earning. I don't know what so-and-so, I don't know that. I don't know what that project manager does at that company. I don't know how hard that job is. I don't know, right? Show me what it means. You're going to have a much, much better way of making a case. And yes, you could pull in some of this other stuff if you want to pile on top, if you don't think your argument's going well. But I would start here. Okay, so that's the next thing. And then the diary points. And to boot, I'm bringing to the table these assets that you didn't anticipate. No one has these skills. We had one guy, Rohan, you've probably, maybe some of you have been fortunate enough to see his case study. He was so experienced that when I worked with him to make his counter offer argument, he's in Canada, was working, got an offer with a San Francisco, a US-based startup organization, and they went way up. And one of the arguments we made is that they wouldn't need to hire somebody to do something in the first year that he would actually do for them. Hey, I'm taking that $150,000 resource off the table, and I'll do that. That's worth more money. You don't have to pay me an extra 150, but you can pay me more money, right? Those kinds of things. You want to make sure that you're highlighting your unique value in your counteroffer, okay? And then to cap it all off, remember, hang on, let me make sure, go back to my cards here. Remember that one I said about, I want you to do this. I want you to tell them all the positions that you have going, and at a minimum, I want you to tell them that things are pretty good where you are, right? Even if they're not. Why would I want you to do that, right? Number one, transparency. Number two, earning a reputation as a communicator. Number three, what else, right? I'm going to need to ask for grace time because I'm a killer and I'm going to get 3 offers, not 1, right? Kind of thing. But I also need you to have this, and this is the sweetest of sweets. You need to be able to say, all right, here's what I'm going to do for you. I bring all this stuff to the table. Here's the value I'm going to add for you. I want you're going to offer in 150 with a $20,000 bonus and this and that and the other thing. Based on what I showed you, is there a way, right? You're going to ruck these numbers up. 180 base, 30,000 bonus, 10,000 sign-on, and so on and so forth. And remember all those other people I told you I was interviewing with for all those other positions, and the fact that my company's going to come after me with a counteroffer? You hit this number, I'll drop them all, and I'm yours. I give you my word. If you don't have this at your disposal, you're going to leave money on the table. Why? Because here's what's going to happen. I probably would have given her 175. I probably would have given her an extra 25 on the bonus. But you know what? For a measly extra 10 grand, I make all this go away. You think they're paying you more money? They're not paying you more money. Technically, they are. I paid extra 10 grand for what? I bought off risk. Now I'm giving the 10 grand to me. Why am I giving it to me? Because can you imagine if she doesn't take this offer and I have to hire somebody who I don't love as much as I love her, or I got to go back to the beginning and do this crap all over again? No, it's worth 10 grand. You're not worth 10 grand more to me, but the whole situation is worth 10 grand more to me. So what happens? You get the money. Because instead of going here, I don't want to take the chance because you didn't give him your word for 175 and 25. You gave him your word for 180 and 30 or whatever it is, right? And you could do it other ways. You can say, however you want to get me the extra 50 grand is up to you. You want to throw it all on the base? That's fine. You want to give me some more bonus? That's fine. You want to give me some sign-on bonus? All that works, right? Because you want to give control to them. What totally gives them control? I give you my word. And for that, you have me. And here's my start date, and everything goes away. Kind of thing. All right? If you don't do this, you don't get more. Right? Like, you might get more, but you didn't get all you could have. And I'm not even talking about getting them to the number where they're going to hate you when you walk in the door, right? Because you're all worried about that. Oh, my God, we're going to get in there and they're not going to love me. No. If you get in there and they hire you, they're going to love you. If you got the goods and you do the job and you prove your value and you deliver your value. No one will care. Trust me. I give you my word. I will drop everything. Okay? All right, so how'd I do? 41? Well, that was after a little hello and whatever. All right, I'm not going to recap that baker's dozen. You get where I'm going with that. Those are things. So this is a little bit different. Now, I have a whole salary negotiation playlist out there. And I would encourage you to check that out. If you want, for those of you that are with me live, I have a job search coaching program that has a lot more detail with a lot of the scripts and templates and other things related to salary negotiation. You're welcome to check that out as well. If you got value out of this, click the like button. Make sure to share it. This lives on YouTube forever. I'm sure I'll clip this out as a recording as well. I don't know, a month from now or so. But if you are here with me live, we're going to the Q&A. If you're watching this on the recording, I'll see you next week. So I hope you enjoyed that. All right. So for those of you who are here with me live, I want to let you know it is my birthday on Saturday. If you did not know that already, I'm sure if you're on my email list, you know. And the only reason that is at all important for you to know is because on my birthday, I put everything on the Milewalk Academy on sale. But since you're not going to see me on my birthday, and this was my only opportunity to tell you live, I believe Kara told me that the Milewalk Academy webpage has all the prices. Everything is... Well, there's one program that's $100 off. That's the Goal Setting Masterclass, or you get that free. Everything else is at least $200 off, if not $300 off. So I would encourage you. Maybe Kara can drop the Milewalk Academy website, and you can go through there. And I believe she's told me. So if something says $299, it'll say $99. If it says $297, it'll say $97. My job search coaching program, we're actually meeting again. The boot campers are meeting next Thursday. We're stealing the live office hour slot. And if you're interested, the self-study is $200 off, and the interactive service package is $200 off. I know we had a sale a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to have a little sale again, and then the sales aren't coming back for a while. So, but it's birthday weekend. Man, it's birthday weekend. So we gotta celebrate, and I really want you to develop yourself. And so I'm doing everything I can to make my programs affordable. If you don't want it for yourself, be in the birthday spirit and give a gift away. I know a lot of you guys buy them for your friends, which I love. And we'll answer any questions about that. And then make sure you grab the financial checklist. That's really good. If you don't have, it's probably blurry. Interview intervention, it's still $7. And we give you the hardbound, the ebook, the audiobook, and some other goodies. That's a nice low-cost gift if you want. Kara, how we doing? And I see some birthday wishes. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so nice. Wait, Larry Cole, good to meet you, buddy, the other day. Valeria, how are ya? Mikhail, what's up? Mary, I'm down at the bottom. Elian, how are you? My boot camper, good to see you. Rippin' Deep, what's up? Dexter, Alistair, RRD, thank you for the birthday wishes. Su Ming, thanks to you. Kristen, Lucky P, Susan Stiers, hey, Pam Moore, Donald, thank you. TD, Terry, what's up? Great to thank you so much, all you. You know, I look at the chat. I go through the whole show when we're done, but we're gonna go to Q&A now because, well, you know, I got to serve you some more. All right, so grab the professional financial checklist, my financial worth, or whatever the heck I called it. Karen, 174, Andy, this is amazing. Who'd have thought a transparent approach wins more in the long run? It does. It does. It does. RRD, this is gold information. I'm so glad. All right, Kevin Leroy, I see you. Congratulations, man. Love the email. Thank you. All right, so Rachel, let's see. What do you got here? First written offer today. What's up? Congratulations. You're destined for big things, kid. I'm telling you. Can you... y'all laugh at me, but this is one of my beloved boot campers right here. Just got my first written offer today with a few more expected in the next few days. Can we give her, who emigrated from Canada to the U.S. and had to go through her whole, visa process, and I'm sure, on your path to citizenship and all that other stuff, and had some, navigating to do. Let's see. I think I did see this question caught the corner of my eye. We don't agree to concessions prematurely, but how do we negotiate them? Offer letter, skip details. Can I seek clarity on total comp package concessions before entering negotiation? Here's what I would do. So what Rachel is asking me is this. So don't accept anything ever, right? Push, push, push. Except now she's saying, okay, all that's fine. It's been either pushed by default or it's missing. So here's what you do. You write out all your questions, meaning, okay, here's what I see. I see a salary. I don't see a sign-on bonus. I see a bonus. Maybe I don't see how it's calculated. I don't see when it's paid. I see vacation, I got a benefits pack, and so on, right? You're in HR, you get all this. So if there's anything that you need, like it doesn't say virtual or remote work schedule, if there is one, it doesn't have, I don't know, certain policies, it doesn't really detail some other thing. Anything you can think of that you are interested in having, or you're confused about, or is you think is flat out missing, you just make the list of questions. And you're talking about the written offer, right? So you have that. You say to them, don't email these. Don't email them. Don't ask in advance. You say, okay, I've got the offer. I've got some questions. Before I can give you anything, can we walk through it? Then I don't know how close the offer is to what you want, and I don't know if it's actually the one you want. Meaning, you said you're getting some others in the next few days. I don't know if this is the one you want. You can approach it. If this is the one you want, you can do the whole, all right, I want to run it up and I'll drop everything. That's one way. Or, okay, wait, I now understand everything. Hey, remember those 3 other organizations? I'm expecting offers this week. Can I have the week to sort this through and then come back to you next Monday, next Thursday, next whenever to discuss this in more detail? If you are not, if the stuff coming at you is too voluminous, like there's too many things, and you can't assemble it all on the fly, and you're not sure what you want to do, you just say, okay, you know what? Now that I have all this information, what you want to make sure that you do is give them a date by which you will swing back. And it's better to say, I want to let you know I have these other offers coming. Can I check back with them to see when they're coming? And I'll immediately let you know the fastest I can get you a response. I'm sure you want to address this quickly or secure this quickly. Now, if you got your dancing shoes on, what I would do before I go back and make that request is I would try to get dates from the others. I remember those other companies I told you. One of them came through with an offer. The others are about to come through with an offer. I want to know where you are because I at least want to get back to the other company as a courtesy to give them a bit more of a firm date by when I can give them an answer, because if this was you, you'd want to know too, right? It just as a courtesy. So can you give me an idea? And then I would have all that. Then I would go back to the written offer company and I would say, okay, remember those companies I mentioned? I did get back with them. They gave me their best indication that I would have information about where I stand by, give them a date, and then say, okay, if they slip by that, I give you my word, I'll at least give you a response or what we can reconvene on, and then give them a date. No matter what, you have to give the people with the written offer some date by which you will get back to them. You don't have to give them a date by which you will give them your answer. You need to give them a date by which you will reconvene to discuss. Now, you can choose based on, because like if I had you sitting here, we could go through all this. But speculating, if this is the one you want, then you say, okay, I'll let you know by, we'll get together. I'll give you all my suggestions on the offer, meaning code for counter offer and all that. So I hope that helps, Rachel. It's, you're smart. You'll figure this out. And the offer letter skipped those details, which is, I'm not sure when you say concessions, what details you mean. They just might not put in there that you can work remotely. I mean, that's not, or something like that. It would not surprise me. But I wish you a lot of luck. And you have access to me in the system, and I'm going to see you next Thursday. If it waits that long and you need me, I'm here for you. Lots of luck. Let's give her a high 10. Adam, what's up? Mom, thank you for having me, Mom. I know you're sitting there crying because you can't believe your little baby firstborn is 56. How awesome is that, Ma? I feel like I'm 26 with the brain of an 80-year-old. Okay. Adam Stark, what's up? Had an informal chat for a freelance role, not ideal. Boss said open to augmenting role. Nice. Making it permanent. Nice. Second interview. Nice. Should I ask about their challenges, goals? Yes. Any other advice? I have a video out there on crushing the second interview. I'd approach it that way. I would make sure that I was doing everything I could to deepen the relationship, and say to the boss, you can say, I would like to understand, I really like you. I would love for this to work out on a full-time basis. Could we also talk about the goals and what you would want me to accomplish in 3 months, 6 months, however long the contract's going to be, to know that I'm on the right track and that you would strongly consider hiring me. That's another way of saying, what does success look like 12 months from now? It's really, what does success look like 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 6 weeks from now, however long the contract is. But yes, all the other interviewing advice I've given you through, I know you have, I think, a mini camp or two, plus the interview playlist on my YouTube channel. But all in all, that sounds great. I mean, it sounds promising. I would just make sure you're getting a clear picture of what it will take to not only get the freelance role, because that's lower risk for them, but to get the full-time position. Make sure you understand what you need to deliver on. Donna Morley, hey, from Montreal. Baby girl, always nice to see ya. Self-awareness is coming up, baby girl, on September 16th for my leadership crew. Team Apollo, we're meeting September 9th. Boot campers, we're meeting September 1st for all the people in my paid programs. All right, enter name here. How are you? Danielle Phillips. Always, I love that YouTube shot of you with the mug. Great to see you from LA. All right. Baby girl, received an offer from old position with old boss. Wants me to work part-time 4 days a week, salary included benefits. Okay, sounds good so far. Comp still negotiable. but please advise how to negotiate position to transition back to a 5-day full-time. You're welcome. So wait, this is a great question. This is an interesting one because if it's 4 days a week, you're like almost there. And I would just say to the boss, I really want to come back full time. Is there an what is preventing you from offering me, who you know, a full-time role? Is it just budget? Use the word budget. Don't use the word budget. That's safe. Is it your budget? Is it the workload? Right? Is it, and so on. Okay. Now you can go through because there'd be various reasons. And if he says, or she, or I don't know if it's he or she says, it's budget, say, okay, I'll tell you what, is there, then you can decide, could you stretch your 4 into 5? Could you say, hey, look, I'd be willing to take the full time for what you're going to pay me for 4. And if I do well, can we agree you're going to raise it? That's an option, maybe not desirable. Or if he says, or the boss says, it's, I don't have enough work. Okay, are there other activities I could roll into this to give me an extra 8 hours of assignments, right? Kind of thing. Or if there's not enough work, can we look at the goals? What do you want me to accomplish position-wise? And you might be thinking this, but I'm thinking this, or I could elevate it to this if I have an extra 8 hours a week. So my feedback to you, Cherry, is that you have to know the reason why it's 4 days, not 5. And depending on what it is, then you can decide how to approach it. Because if he says, well, I don't have enough work for you, it isn't that he doesn't want you to have an extra days of pay. It's that he doesn't know what to do with you. Then you have to help him with that. If he says, I don't have the money, it doesn't matter what work you do. He still only has 80% of the pay he can offer you, kind of thing. So that's how I look at that. I would really try to figure out the why. I really would try to figure out the why. Word Dog Toronto, I have a history of believing that people automatically know how to pay me what I'm worth and have learned the hard way. This is rarely the case. I would say it's never the case. How would anybody know that? Right? How would anybody know that? That's a good point, though. And I think all of you should take Word Dog Toronto's point there, because you assume, and let me give you an example. Like the first one that comes to my mind, I get comments on my YouTube channel. I don't usually get these comments in the system, in the milewalk system with the premium members, but on the YouTube channel. Oh, well, employers, they don't care about employees. They don't know how to value us. Well, no, I might genuinely think that's a $60,000 a year position. Because you got offended because you think it's an 80 doesn't mean I don't care about you. Right? And we got to have a dialogue about why it's worth 80. Or I might not be up with the times. That doesn't make me a bad person or even a bad employer for that matter. Right? So you have to help them. Where's my card? If you're clear, so remember this, folks. Y'all laughed, right? Or I know a bunch of you did when I said make sure the goals are very clear. Except what do employers' job descriptions have? They don't have goals on them. They have, we want you to build this team. Well, that's not a goal. I'm going to build the team, but what's the team going to do? What's the team's goal? What's the team's output? What do they ultimately need to achieve? That's a step. That's an activity, right? We want you to support the blah, blah meetings. What does that mean? Right? No, where's the value I'm actually contributing in terms of dollars and cents, in terms of days saved, in terms of more customers, in terms of whatever terms you could figure out. People don't do this. Employers don't even do this. You have to do this for them. And guess what? It's your responsibility. Everything is your responsibility. Your career development's your responsibility. Who you work for is your responsibility. So own it. Own it. Michael Tierney, what's up? I tried to come up with some different points, man. I'm running out of ideas. Nah, that never going to happen. But just different ways of saying it. Larry Cohen, great session with you yesterday, man. Loved it. So good to see your smiling face. Sandy Wagner, first time live? Can we give Sandy Wagner a fresh, big live office hours hug for being a first timer? Shelly Adamson, not sure my contract role is going good. I'm 6 months in and keep getting hammered for their management changes and repositioning. Hang in there. Hang in there. Or, right, you're in the right spot. Or we check out other options for you. Kurt, what's up? Dave, hey, from Denver. Good to see you. Nice smile. Susan? Fan of Andy. Grace, what's up? I think that's you, Grace, right? If I got that correctly. Eric Richardson, great talking to you the other day. Megan Wisdom, Terry, Pamela. Let's see. Interview with second company today. Could not have gone better. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know, my man, Eric. Can we all give Eric Richardson a huge high 10? He's moving along with a company, and he bus hunted his way in, got directly to the CEO of a portfolio company, had an initial session, had a second session. Awesome. Great to hear. Great to hear. Hopefully you did what I said in my email. I hope you did. I'm glad it went well. All right, Karen M. from Boston. Ariana Space Ninja. KR from Denver. Stephanie, how are you? Rose, ripping deep. Zumba with Mr. Victor. What's up, my leader? Erwin. Is that, wait, Nezovic S.A., I believe that's Sue. I believe that's Sue, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen you in a while. Kara is giving you the download. Make sure y'all take it. Valeria, hey, questions. I'm just zipping down now for question marks. Kristen Minch, what's up? The bright spot in my other, oh, stop it. Wes Miles, 31, oh, yeah, thank you. Hey, yeah, if you're getting value out of this, it matters. Believe me, YouTube's a system. They don't know. They don't know how much fun we have every Thursday. You got to tell them. M. Foreman, Melissa, I built stories based on the job description and its tasks when I'm prepping. Awesome. Okay, so some of you are doing this. Edgar, recently I'm 1 year into my career due to short staff management. Asked me if I want to take over workflow of a level 2 position. Awesome. Never thought of it that way. Wait, oh no, that's different. Although I will have all the responsibilities of level 2, I won't be able to be promoted. Level 2, so I'm 2 to 3 years in. Should I ask for a raise? Yes. Check out my video on how to ask for a raise when you get more responsibilities. Does that sound like a winner for you, Edgar? Check it out. Lots of luck. All right. Word Dog, Toronto. What if a previous employer repeatedly scapegoated and undervalued you? How to phrase it in an interview. You don't ever go near that. Stay away. That's my answer. Final answer. Elena, Andy, should you tell your current employer that you are interviewing with other companies if you are in a good relationship with them? And what else should you include? No, never. Final answer. Don't include anything else, not even that. Stay away. There's no good can come of that. You want us to show our card. I want you to show the cards. Yes, all of them. Here's me. Here's everything I got. Everything I got. Kara, how we doing? Kara, you're very quiet. Either Kara, Stacy's on vacation still celebrating her birthday. I don't get to celebrate my birthdays. They always seem to fall on a weekend. I mean with a day off. Andy, this is that's Karen, thank you. D-City, what's up? What tactics would you recommend for temporary jobs? I would recommend anything that you can do that gets your temp pay up. And I would approach this the same way if it was a part-time role. So like Adam was asking me about, hey, this is a freelance role or whatever. I would approach it the same way. You could approach it the same way. You might not have all the variables at your disposal. But hey, my rate is this because this is what I'm going to do for you. All right, let me see. Gray 7. My current job is not full-time. The time varies month to month. If a company asks, what is your notice period? Does it sound bad to tell them there is none? I have a final round interview tomorrow. Grace, I would talk about what you are not, what you're not, what you have not, what you don't. So in your case, what that means is I currently my time varies each month. I am on an arrangement with my current employer to let them know if something changes on my end and I attain full-time employment, or if I go to a new employer, I need to give them a 1-day notice. And so my time frame would be probably within a week, or whatever it is. I want to take a week off. I need to get my house in order. I'd like to give them some knowledge transfer, whatever it is. That's not, believe me, there's many different ways to approach this. So I have a couple of videos on my channel about resigning. And one of them is a very short video, and I talk about going out with some class, give a 2-week notice, which is generally customary in the US if there is not some predetermined notice period. Sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's no time. Some countries outside the US, 3 months. Well, of course, I want you to adhere to whatever is customary or contracted with you. And I get some, I laugh. I have a full-blown video about the 8 steps to resign the right way. And it isn't about the process of resigning, but all the reasons why you want to resign the way I would recommend. And I get comments on the YouTube channel about, well, 2 weeks is outdated. It's like paper application. You don't resign for them. You resign for you. You know what isn't outdated? The employer's ability to badmouth you for the rest of your life. So when I do a reference check and I call that employer and somebody picks up the phone and the HR person says to me, well, that Tommy, what a jerk. You know what? He came in my office one day, dropped his notice, and left. She can say that. She could say that because it was true. What she can't say is something untrue. How are you gonna disprove that? Right? You don't resign for them. You resign for you to keep your record intact and keep your reputation intact. Not to mention, what? Those people you used to work with at that company, they go out into the world too. And then you're interviewing at a company where they work and they're like, hey, that Tommy was a jerk. Don't hire that guy. Right? So anyway, I know it's a little tangent there. But I know a lot of you are resigning, right? Because you're eventually going to resign because you're eventually going to get multiple offers, and you're going to have a headache of which one to choose. And then after you do that, the next headache you're going to have is, how do I resign? And it's totally gut-wrenching, and oh my God, I'm going to leave everybody and they're going to, not be able to live without me. Elian, what's up? What if they are pressuring you to answer quicker because otherwise, if it doesn't work with you, what you're asking, we'll lose our second choice? Very good question. Very good question. This happens a lot, right? They have multiple candidates, just like you might have multiple offers. And so what I would say to them is, okay, I appreciate your position. If you'd like me to give you an answer, I'll give you an answer. If you meet me here, I accept, or whatever. They forced you to decide. I understand why they forced you to decide, but all I care about is you. And so I don't want you to muck up the other opportunities that you want to continue to pursue. If they force your hand and they say you have to decide by, then, and you don't want to lose it because you're not sure about the other ones, then take it, push your start date out a couple weeks or whenever it is. And if something happens and you need to call them back and renege, then you call them back and renege. No, I don't love that you have to do that. But what I don't love even less, right? But what I would hate even more is the fact that you're going to continually look over your shoulder. You're going to be upset that you didn't take that other job or you didn't wait it out. They forced your hand. Now you're going to force their hand. That's just the way it goes. And if I'm the employer, and by the way, I'm saying this because I was an executive recruiter and I would handle people who would be in a process like this that might have multiple streams going on. Not always, rarely did this happen, but it has happened, right? And I would say to my client, look, it's better to let them finish out. I know we have these other candidates, and if something doesn't work out, we'll get you more candidates. Don't worry about it. Or your team will get you more candidates. Don't worry about it. So that's the way I roll. I can wait a week, right? And if I miss somebody, then I wasn't supposed to have them anyway. But that companies are so short-sighted. And thank you. Oh, I finally got to the spot where Donald, thank you. Pamela, thank you. Susan, Rippin' Deep, what's up? Lucky P Motors. Kristen, thanks. Suming and all. Terry. Dollars, cloudy dollars. Or dollar, cloudy dollars. Pulake. Donna, Alistair. Alistair. Thank you for that. And Riz and Christy Ehlert. You guys are great, great, great. Kevin, hey, Mikhail, zipping on down. Afro-Canadian, thank you, thank you. You guys are great. Thanks, Shirley, SB, MDJ91. TD, got a question. I would like a sign-on bonus. Wouldn't we all? If they don't offer one, can I ask for one? Of course you can. What's a good number? That depends. And that depends. So numbers-wise, there's no such thing as a good or bad number, and there's no such thing as what's typical, because every company literally has its own policies. Some say no sign-on bonuses ever. Some say, no, we give all kinds of sign-on bonuses because the sign-on bonuses come out of that bucket over there, which doesn't affect the business unit's bucket, and it also allows us to keep all the salaries in order, which is kind of what we like. So you can ask and just say, I wouldn't even ask for a sign-on bonus. I would say, I want this. How you get me there is up to you. I'm open to, increase in salary, increase in bonus on the back end, across the way, or whatever. And if a sign-on bonus is something you'd consider, that could be part of it too, kind of thing. I mean, that's how I would do it. And then it becomes more complicated. Let's just say, sake of argument, that the company says, hey, Terry, we're only going to move you for $10,000. We have a cap on reload expenses. You say, okay, fine. Give me another 20 grand across, however, salary and a sign-on bonus. Would you do that? Now, that's not as good because I'd rather have the 20 bones or the 10 more on the reload because there's no taxes on that because those are expenses. But there's other ways that you can try to, get that. At the end of the day, salary's like a black box. Ian, how you doing? Extra serving of chicken and broccoli. Kelly Wagers. Recruiters typically ask for salary requirement. How do you handle these questions in your initial call? Kelly, I have talked about this extensively in what's the best answer to what's your expected salary. I have a 2018 version. I have a 2020 version. I have a 2022 version on how to get a higher salary by not giving your expected salary. Check those. I literally give you the script. Vivian Acevedo. And wait, who is that about? Kurt, very excellent use of the emojis, my friend. Thank you for that. Vivian, when negotiating after an offer with one company and are interested in another company, do you tell the other company you got an offer and offer you, and if they want to consider you further, you have a deadline? That is an approach. I don't like to give that unless I have to, okay? So I would rather ask them, is there anything you can do? I appreciate you have your process. The other company, as a courtesy, I'd like to give the other company a definitive date. I would ask. I wouldn't make demands. Now, you can dig your heels in and say, if that's maybe your second favorite company, you don't really care as much, you could say, I need to know by. I mean, you could do that. It all becomes a matter of the sequence in which you're getting the offers. Meaning, well, if your favorite's running third, then you might treat the first one differently. If your favorite is first, you're going to treat the other two differently, and you're going to try to make it work with the first. Michael Tierney, also a Virgo. Virgo's rule, man. MDJ. What if they say they do not negotiate? So the first thing going through my head is if you don't negotiate, then you don't really care about your employees and you don't really want to hire the best talent, but I understand that doesn't do you any good. So if they say they don't negotiate, then what I would say is it's up to you. Is what they gave you a number you're comfortable with? If it's all you all deal with, as we all, meaning individually, we're all dealing with our own set of circumstances, parameters, pressures, interests, and so on. I am, as you probably get, I am stone cold. I am icy when it comes to things like this. That's my standard. I'm not dealing with that. I don't want to hear about it, kind of thing. That's how I approach a lot of things when it comes to stuff like this. And I appreciate that not everybody is like that. And so some people, it makes their stomachs turn just to ask for another nickel. But I want you to know, some of you may be like, Andy, I can't even pay rent next month. I get it. That's not my situation. And a lot of other people aren't in that situation. I want you to do what you got to do. And I always will have your back, and I will always support you. And I will always say, I want you to do what you got to do, right? In order to take care of you, the kids, whoever, the dogs. I got a lot of mouths to feed. Got 16 legs in the house. But that's for you to decide based on your current situation. Kara's sending me some big hearts here. Laura O, my boot camper, I've been using your interview techniques this month and can see a difference in these first and second rounds. Thank you, Andy, for your help. You are welcome. Love to hear that. Love it. Elizabeth Collins, she's just one of the coolest people ever. Submitted my reference list and heard they are calling my references. Elizabeth Collins, can I? I'm getting the card. Hold on. Okay. I would like to brag on Elizabeth Collins. Actually, I'm bragging because she gave me the greatest gift of all time. I have not held this gift up much, but Libby Collins and Lily Collins, the first time I ever talked to Elizabeth Collins, doctor extraordinaire, pediatrician extraordinaire who wanted to work and told me my goal, Andy, was to only get her a job at this particular hospital affiliation. Basically, she gave me one shot, one bullet in the gun, and we did it. And then she sent me this zebra card that she and her daughter made, and then wrote me this lovely note that I can't let you read. And it's like one of my prized, cherished possessions. It's always on my bookshelf, as are all the cards you guys send me in the mail. I love them. And can we give her a huge shout out, because this is a big job she's going to get. And so let's send her all love. I love it. That card never gets old. And if you have no idea why it's a zebra, you need to go look LaCivita up and type zebra in the Google. So great. I don't know where you are, Libby, in the chat, but hopefully I'll get there. But Kara, thank you for bringing that forward and giving me a chance to show the zebra card. That's some labor went into that. There's energy in that card. That's why it's in my office. All right. Yes, I forgot. Okay, folks, everything with the one exception of the leadership program is on special. But the training, the bonus courses in the leadership program, the productivity challenge, the goal setting masterclass, and the career accelerator program are actually on special. The career accelerator program is $300 off. The productivity challenge is $200 off. The goal setting masterclass is $100 off, or I give those away free in the leadership program if you subscribe as a member. And then everything else on the job searching side is on sale. So hit the Milewalk Academy. You have until Sunday night, when I stop celebrating my birthday, to buy something. And then all you boot campers that are on the interactive service package can join me on Thursday. All right. Kevin Zhang, hey. Aaron Para, yesterday I interviewed with a hiring manager and she mentioned another role she was looking on filling. How should I navigate between being considered for either role? Love it. Okay. And by the way, Aaron, this is not just specific to you. Any of you can do this. If you get into a company that you absolutely love, and there's even a position that you love, you can say to them, I want you to know, as we go through this interview process, if there's any other positions that you think I can help you in the company, let me know. I'm open. It's more important for me to join a great company, of which yours is, and I want to work in the position where I can add the most value, or where you have the most urgent need. And then that should be, you say that in the screen. Okay, and if you see something come up along the way, what you don't want to do is you don't want to give them the, hey, I would much prefer that role over there. You can say, if depending on where you go, how you go through this process, if you're going, that role is still open, but they're still pursuing you for this role, I would try to wait as long as possible. Or I would go to the recruiter and I would say, hey, I noticed this other role opened. I'm really keen on this role that I'm interviewing for, but that one caught my eye too. What do you think about that? You can actually ask a vague question and just say, I'd love your insight on whether you think, which one you need to fill more urgently, and which one you think I match best. Don't say I prefer that one, and then just let them talk. And then what? Then you're going to find out what their position is, meaning the recruiter will say, hey, Aaron, you know what? I'm so glad you mentioned that. I think you're even a better fit for that. let me get the team. Let's get you talking or whatever, and we'll make sure that the hiring official that you're currently interviewing with is alerted and so on, and we'll let this play out. Or however. So, oh my God. All right. And hang on, Kara Setties. What is it? Of old versus long sleeve lavender collar button down shirt and old condo versus, oh my God. Yes, I am an Iron Man now and have the, I don't want to, conditioning to prove it. Oh my God, that's so funny. All right, hopefully I get to these. All right, Tejai, is it Tejai? Is that Tejal? Boy, I need, oh jeez. Hang on. There we go. Oh, Tejal. Still going 56, but I'm still going strong. Okay, boot camper you are. I got an internal global mobility verbal offer. Nice, but the recruiter refused to provide me with overall compensation and is willing to negotiate only base pay, only what to do. The first thing is you get some details. So you got to get some, you can't negotiate. If they didn't give you the number, how are you going to negotiate when you don't know the number? So I would say, all right, if you are unwilling to put it in right, because some of you are going to deal with this, right? Hey, we can't give you the offer until I know it's okay, because we're not going to go through the process of putting the paperwork together, which is ridiculous. But let's say you're dealing with this nonsense. You say, okay, can you give me some kind of idea? Email me. What's the salary? What's the whatever, so we could talk it through. You talk it through, and if you're comfortable with it, or you want to counter, which is okay, you counter, same tactics, even if you don't have the written offer, you're going to do the same things, right? You ask your questions as best you can. Then say, okay, you know what, if this is okay, and you negotiate to whatever, when you say you get to that number, I'm good with this, provided there are no other surprises or anything that would change the overall compensation I take home. I take home. Get that down. Why? Why would you say that? Hey, I agree to $100,000. Wait, the insurance costs are an extra $1,000 a month, right? You mean I'm going from paying $500 a month for my premium to $1,000 a month? That's $6,000. That not only wipes out your $5,000 increase, I'm actually $1,000 more in the hole, right? So anytime, you might have heard me say this last week or two, and I certainly said this in negotiating your salary, or how to negotiate a higher salary by not giving your expected salary. If you get down and you give a number, or you gave your expected salary and you need to correct, meaning I told you that was okay before, but now I'm telling you it isn't. Anytime you have new information, you can go back and comfortably counter, or give them a different number, or say something has changed, because you gave them your insight, your word, your feedback, whatever, based on what you knew. You didn't know the healthcare cost an extra $6,000. You didn't know there was no 401k match in the first year. You didn't know it was 2 weeks vacation and not 4, or whatever it was, right? So you can do it that way, and then if they give you a written offer, it's still okay to counter. Now, they might not like it, but you know what? That's their problem. It's a crappy process that they put you through, and they could have avoided all this by showing you a lot of the T's and C's before you agreed to this. So that's the way I would go with that. I'm lots of luck with, this global mobility is a big deal. Must be a pretty good organization that does this. So I'm hoping it works out for you. Lots of luck. Elizabeth Collins, you are welcome. Great to see you the other day. I hope this rocks for you. International School Deputy Principal. Alistair are looking for principal roles, had offers, but the offers are always 20 to 30% lower than it should be. The responses are always, it's the current climate due to COVID, thoughts on getting around this. Okay, my wife, her friend, our friend, her name's Megan. Megan had a job over there. She was an assistant principal. Megan got a job over there for twice the pay, like like wham, because she went to a different area. It was a different location. They valued principals differently, and so on. Now she got another job over there in a different location. And so my view is, in some places, COVID is killing, literally and figuratively, the climate, the business climate for some businesses, schools, or whatever it may be. And then what I would say to you is, all right, we all have a choice. So you could either, if that's that opportunity, even though it's 20% or 30% lower, satisfies more of your needs. Maybe it's closer to home. Maybe you're only 5 minutes instead of 50 minutes. Maybe it's you like the environment, you like the people, or whatever. Maybe your kids go to the same school, or all that stuff. You factor that in. I always say, look, you have a choice every single day of who you talk to, who you pal around with, right? What you choose to do work-wise, and everything else related to your life, just about. And so if they don't want to pay, they don't want to pay. And then you have a choice of whether to stay or go. Yes, it's Living Liberty. I love this card. I love this card because so much effort went into it. It's so thoughtful. Jelena, or maybe Yelena, should I trust Glassdoor with salary? No. Number one, that's input by people that are not really representing the company. And while it might be people that work there, even so, that data is not indicative of what they might pay today. It just isn't accurate. Just take it with a grain of salt. Dexter, just going. How about positions which have a salary range displayed? How do we handle this situation? You go in and you don't say anything. And if they ask you what your expected salary is, you say, I'm open, right? I'm sure if we're right for each other, right? Money's great, but I'm really interested in the whole pack. You go through the whole Andy refraining. Where's my refraining card? You go through the whole thing. It says it's 100,000. You say nothing. They say, hey, Dexter says 100,000 on the website. How do you feel about it? Sounds fine. And then you get in there. And then what? You don't accept anything. You push everything to the end. You make your case based on everything that you're gonna do. I've said this a number of times, right? Every time I make the two fish, you know where I'm going with this, right? Every employer that's gonna hire somebody has two things they think about. One, the problem they need solved, right? They have a problem they need fixed, or they have an aspiration they need you to help them accomplish. That's it. That's all. Let's not get over engineer it. That's all they hire people for. Now, going into the hiring, when they put that number on the website and it says $100,000 or whatever it is, or they say, hey, Dexter, what's your expected salary, right? And in their mind, it's $100,000. They're hoping you say. They have what's the problem. They have who they think solves the problem. Who's the who they think solves the problem? They either have somebody in their head, or they have somebody figuratively on the job description, right? They put a job description that says you have 7 years of experience, you do this, you do that, you don't do this, you don't do that, right? You got this degree, not that degree, whatever, right? That's what they think. Now, what happens? You got the whole interview process to do what? Change these two things. The problem is always going to be the problem that's static. However, the degree to which the problem can be solved is variable. Because, we thought somebody with 7 years of experience would only be able to come in and handle, mid-market accounts. Wait, you're a badass with 20 years of experience, and you got a Rolodex, that's longer than my arm, and you got this and that, and you can handle enterprise accounts and whatever. Now all of a sudden you're worth more. And the other thing that changes is either their vision of who the person is that solves the problem, or the degree to which the problem can be solved. So I've told this story a number of times. I think I told it a couple weeks ago at the mini camp. But we had this, I'll tell it very quickly here, but we had this boot camper, Karen, who interviewed for a position that was a change in industry line and solution lines. She was a senior person who really could sell, manage, run a portfolio of accounts, manage people, and so on. And this software as a services company wanted to hire somebody, but they didn't necessarily think they were looking for somebody as senior as she was. But once they talked to her, what did I say? Once you see me, you can't unsee me. Now, I don't want to go lowbrow anymore, right? I don't want to go down to where I was. I saw something, now I can't unsee her. Now I can't even imagine what I was thinking by why I thought I could take somebody more junior. She could do so much more. And what happened was they went the whole process. They were 70 grand light at the end, but they didn't want to lose her. So what happened? They went and they took money from 2 other positions to give her the extra 70 bones to get her in. Because what? What changed was the degree to which the problem could be solved and the makeup of the person who they could actually hire. Now, what was in their mind about the budget they wanted to spend, that was static, except that she warranted more money, so they had to go find it. Right? But a lot of you, what do? You negotiate yourself out of the process because, right? She came to me and said, Andy, they're 70 grand light. I really like this company. I want to make this move. Can you help me? We met 2 times. Once, next interview, once, the next was a presentation. She got on a plane and went and flew across the country to go give it. And then a few weeks went by and then it was negotiation time. And I helped her through all of this. And believe me, there's always money. There's always money. When you say there's no more money, no, there's no more money that they want to give you. Remember that. I know that's cold. But that's what happens when an employer says, that's it, that's our budget. No, if you would have changed their mind about who could do what they want to do and the degree to which the problem can be solved or the aspiration can be met or the speed at which that can happen, they will change how much money they're willing to pay. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You're throwing the towel in way too early. All right, let's keep rolling. How we doing? Kara, I could squeeze a few more of these in here. Enter name here. I love that. Man, can we just get, what's your name? How to maneuver the salary expectation early on when you're applying for a startup. Most of the time, they told me there's no set budget. Yes. And they need to run the numbers. I'm open. I don't care. Run whatever, put whatever number you want in there. I appreciate that you are a startup and you don't have a number in mind. And startups will do this more often than not because what? If they're a startup, they want to hire the right people who can do the right things, but they don't always know the combination of skill sets that will come with an individual. So they don't have a set number in mind that says, oh, well, they're going to have this skill, and this skill, and we want to pay 70. So they want to say like, well, how much do you want? So we think, right? Say, hey, listen, we'll figure that out. Just keep moving. Believe me, startups, they're more inclined to move forward before you give them a number. They are. They're entrepreneurial. They get it. Ian, on countering, in addition to bennies, bonus, and base, relocation, oh, look at you, sign-on bonus. What's your position on things like conferences, memberships, and say mastermind group? I love it. Everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. That's just value to you. I was working with my acquisitions editor for my new book this week and last week. And we're negotiating and this and that. And can I put this in my marketing plan? And will you give me these copies? Or can I have those copies? And I want to give free copies to my people and this and that. It's, Andy, everything's negotiable. It's like, yes, I know, right? Same for you. Same for you. Generic hugs to everyone. I love that. Give love to each other. Give likes to the channel and to YouTube and share. Do you know the best love you can show is sharing this with people? Because if you're sharing this with your community, the people who need the help, who you don't even know need the help, your friends who haven't contacted you, but then see it and say, oh my God, I needed help. That just popped up because, right, the universe is perfect and it just showed up right when I needed it to. That's a really good way to share the love. James D. I don't have any, alternative offers or interviews in the pipeline. Got an interview this week. How do I showcase myself from a position of strength that comes from having these securities? I'm wondering if you mean insecurities, but your negotiating leverage comes from here and no other place. Well, here and here. Okay, it doesn't matter how many interviews you have going on. It's just easier for you if you have more things going because you have more what we call bidas, balls in the air. And with more balls in the air, when you drop one, when you're trying to juggle it, you're like, that's okay, I still got these 3, right? Kind of thing. Except that if you want to solve that problem, there's multiple ways of solving it. You can solve it on offense or you can solve it on defense. Offense is you go to the job search challenge, and if you don't know what that is, you can buy it for $99 right now, normally $300, or you can go to my YouTube channel and get the free man's version, free woman's version of the video. There's a 2-video playlist that will teach you how to get more bidders by getting more interviews. That's offense. Defense is, no, I'm standing ground. I believe in myself, and I have faith that I'll be able to find something that will pay me what I'm worth. It's liberating to get there. All right. Laura O., you are welcome. Edgar, what's up? Elizabeth Collins, I made it to you. I don't know if you're still here. Say hi to Lily. Lohendi Garcia, I have a question. My department is very short-handed to, where'd you go? And then my department is down to me and my manager right now. My coworker's last day is September 2nd. We were 4, now really down to me. How do I negotiate for more money and when? Lohendi, you effectively have more responsibilities, much like I referred, I think, somebody else earlier in the show. I do have a video out there on how to ask for a pay raise when you get more responsibilities. And if you really want to jump in to my leadership program, I have very detailed lessons on pay raises and negotiating pay raises. So, hope those help. Mariposa, that's right, Mariposa. I received a job offer from one company, but I'm interested in another company as well. Can I go back to the other company and let them know I received an offer to see if I'm inconsiderate? Yes. Going back to the package today, definitely. So, well, my cards are all crazy now because I got them all over the place, and now they're all out of order. And you would think after 330 live shows that I would actually start numbering these, but I would tell them all this and always keep them apprised. And if you do get an offer, you let them know. Ian, Andy, regarding the nebulous, what I'm worth, are there any good resources? It seems like a gap in the work world. Fair work. Okay, so I do understand. This is not just for Ian. I understand. Every one of you has the right to come back to me and say, Andy, that's great, but how do I know where to start, right? How many want to say, Andy, where do I start? Well, you're not completely oblivious to what you should be earning in some respects. Now, the should word's probably not the right word, but if you're a project man, I was working with somebody yesterday, okay? And super guy, I think he's here. We won't call him out. But, he's a senior program management resource. And he hasn't had an interview. And the recruiter said to him, we're looking for somebody in the 110 arena. Now, this guy should be making 150 on the low end. Easy. But you got a clue that that's right based on, and he was most recently a contractor or consultant. But, he's had full-time jobs in the past. You kind of have an idea where you are. And then it's a matter of, kind of working your way in. But it isn't, at the end of the day, I was happier making zero than I was several $100,000 because that mattered to me more. So when you go in and you look at a job, one of the easiest ways to fix this and the best things you can do for yourself is not have FOMO or worry about the comparison stuff. And I don't really care if your friend makes 110 and you're making 100. Are you happier than your friend who's probably, in a job that she hates or whatever? I don't know. So, pick your priorities, pick what's most important to you, assess everything together, and then decide if that number makes you happy. And believe me, over time, you'll figure it out, and you and the employer will figure it out. Erwin, working on a new resume while watching the stream. I'm starting to ask my life choices when I saw the financial work checklist. No 401k? There is a 401k in there. There is a 401k in there. There should be. Here. Ooh. Hang on, I hit a button. So whoever was asking me that, Erwin, right here, that what you're looking for, right? So there is a 401, there's a 401k in there. So make sure you're grabbing that. Riz, how do you negotiate with your current employers for additional responsibilities? I love it, man. So this is on people's minds right now. So there's a video out there, how to negotiate for a pay raise when you get more responsibilities. Check that out. Check that out. Robin, what's up? Thank you for the birthday wish. Been looking for any of your content on how to talk about being fired, let go from the last role, any guidance. The reason you probably don't see anything overly specific is because the reason why you are fired is so variable. And so wait, I love this question. Kara, can we make a note? I need to do a video on how to answer I've been fired. And I want to show you how I would break something like this down. And I'm going to give you just a couple of minute version right now. Now, let's go all the way back. Your resume is what? What's your resume, folks? It's a marketing document. It's not a work history document. Why would I say the resume when she asked me a question about, or he asked me a question about getting fired? Well, how you look overall determines how you're going to approach it, right? As you can see, I was there 10 years. Everything was great. They had cuts. I was cut, right? My unit is being dissolved. My unit was sold off. I did something. I barfed on his shoes. Like how you say what you say, you have to take everything into context. If you've been fired 10 times in a row and you've only been working a year at each of those, that's going to be a different setup. So what you want to do is obviously you want to, number one, look at what the context would be. And so if you've generally had good runs, you've had good transitions, you've been a good employee, it's okay to straight away, you know what, they let me go because it's totally my responsibility. I really should have been more thoughtful. I learned a lesson, blah, 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 boom, done. You're out and it'll be over with. I mean, you're done with it and it'll be over with. They're not going to get hung up, especially if the history looks really good. If you were let go, that and it was a downsizing or a riff or something where an entire group was let go, that's the easiest explanation. My company decided this unit was going to be outsourced, going to be moved to a different country, going to be whatever, and so I and the entire team were let go. Or whatever. Or my company, they would have offered me other positions. I didn't want other positions in the company. I really like doing this. So they let me go because I didn't want any other. Like there's a million different reasons why you can be let go. So how you say that is going to be dependent on this is why I was let go. And so you know what you could do, Robin? Because you have access to the boot camp and you could go in there and ask me a question. If you go into the boot camp and you go into the comments and you go in the system and say, Andy, this is why I was let go, what would you say? I'll zip you back your answer. Folks, that's another reason to get in the job search coaching program and the interactive package or the VIP package. It's because you can ask me questions like that and give me more detail. Okay. Let's see. Michael Tierney, silly nitpicky question. Hey, we love those. Of course, I sent CIO a thank you after interview. She asked me skill questions and not just culture and my questions, but hiring manager also trailed her for a quick 15-minute chat. Where's the question? Where he mentioned a couple of changes in his org, but outside my team. Does that warrant a second thank you to him? Probably not. Wait, if he joined, are you saying he trailed her for a quick 15-minute chat, meaning you were talking to her and then he jumped in for 15 minutes and you did this in person or in Zoom? If you're asking me, should I send him a thank you? Say, I would send him a different style of thank you. Hey, it was so great to get to talk to you for a few minutes. I hope blah, 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 and just something else. I'm really interested, and I'm continue to be more interested. I particularly like the fact that I'm perfect for this role because, or whatever. But yes, I would. That ain't gonna hurt you. Or what do you think this says about extending an offer? If they give you an offer, then all good. And welcome to the 56 club. Though I leave you for the 57 club. I can't believe I'm 56. It's pretty funny. It's really funny, in fact. All right, I hope that helped. Let me see how we doing on time. All right, let's see if I get one more of these in here. Lucky P Motors, If I get an offer for a non-partner role, but I know that I'm partner material, how do I work this into the negotiation? Do you ever provide references before the offer? So wait, those are two different things. References, you can give them the references whenever they ask for them, but make sure you're giving them references that'll speak to the things you want them that they have communicated to you are important for them to investigate, or you inferred these were going to be important based on the interview questions they asked you. Meaning, if you provided references early on because you applied online, heaven forbid, or you gave them to the recruiter when you got to the initial screen, you reserve the right to say to them, I reserve the right to change those. Don't contact my references until I know you're about to give me an offer, and then I will make sure at that time I give you the best references based on what's important to you. We'll discover that throughout the process. I have a video on the references, the complete guide to reference checking. Watch that. I go through all the details, exactly all the nuances, the whens, the wherefores, and whatever. That's your second question. First question is, if you get an offer, and it doesn't matter if you're a partner, not partner, or you're a manager, director, vice president, senior vice president, if you, for whatever reason, they didn't give you that title, there was a reason they felt that there's a gap. So what I would say is, all right, I appreciate that you view me as this, and these are my responsibilities. I'd love to make sure that I'm adding the right value, and there's a path for me to promotion as quickly as possible, right? Everybody wants that. And so can we discuss just throughout the process, wherever, even at the end, what you see is the areas that I need to make sure I focus on in the first year, 90 days or whatever. Now, you could wait until after you start to do that. That's what I would recommend. But if you feel like there's an opportunity for you to get a review where you're so close and you're almost there, but you're not quite, and as a perk to you, I say, hey, Lucky P Motors, you know what? I know you're pretty close. We want to make sure we're the right fit for each other, right? All that we believe that we are, and we want to make sure that you're performing as we think. Perhaps in 6 months, I give you my word, or I'll put it in writing that we will review this, and we will review your level, even though normally we do that after 1 year or whatever it is, right? That is something that people do work into their contracts, or at least get a verbal on that. Now, the reason I don't love verbals is because people leave. And if that boss who promised you something left and a new player comes in, and even then, they don't have to honor it, but still. All right, listen, folks, I got to run. I hope you enjoyed this. I love seeing you guys every week. But unfortunately, I'm not going to see you next Thursday because I'm going to be with members of my job search coaching program, the boot campers, which $200 off on multiple packages on that program. The interactive service package is the one that gets you in my private coaching next week. It won't be on sale. It won't be on sale next week. It's only on sale through Sunday for my birthday. So if you got any questions, Kara and I are here. I'm sure I'll be eyeing the support queue over the weekend, even though it's my birthday. I will respond to everybody who sends me a birthday email because I always do. I read them all. I always enjoy those. And I'm going to be sending you a birthday email. I hope you read it on Saturday. I want to inspire you. I hope you read it. It's not super long, but I hope that, the way I've lived my life serves as motivation for you and an inspiration for you to try new things. And I really can't thank you enough for your time and attention. I want to give you whatever gifts I can, whether I'm helping you at the deepest level because you're in my programs, or you just love showing up on Thursday and spending time with me at the live shows. I love having you. I can't thank you enough. Love you all. I'm sliding into birthday weekend. I'll see you soon.